The Bowazon was my favorite build back in Lord of Destruction about 20 years ago, but today bows and crossbows are much weaker than most other weapon types, and the Bowazon is rarely ever seen anymore. So how difficult would it actually be to finish the entire game using only a Bowazon? There's only one way to find out, and this run was much harder than I thought it would be. The rules are very simple. The only weapon types I can use are bows and crossbows. I can only use a mercenary from Act 1, and I can only use the personal stash, so no shared stash. We spawn with javelins, so the first thing I had to do was to find a weapon that I can use. So I ran around opening some chests and I found a chipped emerald. I went back to Charcy and bought the cheapest bow she had with some arrows. Let's begin. I started by clearing the Den of Evil to get some XP and my free skill points. Then I went straight to Bloodraven, and that was the longest Bloodraven fight I've ever had. My damage is very low and she's a professional at dodging my arrows, but after a few minutes I got her. Then I went to get my first mercenary, but she has fire arrows, and for this run I would really prefer cold. Fiona, welcome to the team. Then I used a small amount of gold that I had to try to gamble a bow, and I found a rare bow giving some additional damage. Then I went directly to the Tree of Inephis and killed the brutes. It's much easier now that I have a mercenary with me. I took the scroll of Inephis and went straight to Tristram. It took a while, but I killed the very tanky Griswold, then I saved the old man Deckard Cain. Then I went straight to the Countess to kill her for the first time, and she dropped a nice Ral rune, which is the highest rune normal Countess can drop. Once I reached level 14, my mercenary was still level 9 and she was very weak, so I decided to give her back to Cassia and get a level 13 rogue instead. Kyle, don't disappoint me. Then I ran straight to Andy, and I honestly thought it would be a little bit more difficult than this, but the slow from my mercenary is very useful, so Andy went down without any problem. I decided to grind Andy a little bit, and a few minutes later she dropped a very nice magic ring, giving 1 to dexterity and 12 magic find. I now have 2 rings giving magic find, for a total of 17. Before going into Act 2, I wanted to farm some runes from the Countess to make some rune words. I got a Tal rune and another Ral rune on my first run. Then a few minutes later, on my way to the Countess, I found a helm with 2 sockets. And in the same run, the Countess dropped Tyr, Tal, and Nef. With this, I can make the Nadir rune word. It's not that good, but the defense against missile, strength, and the 2 mana after each kill are going to help a lot right now. Then it took me about 20 more minutes, but I finally found the other rune that I needed, an Eth rune. So I went directly to Farah in Act 2, I bought an armor with 2 sockets, and here, my biggest upgrade yet, the Stealth rune word. 25 faster run walk and faster hit recovery with some dexterity and mana regen. That's absolutely amazing for a low level character. Then on my way to Radamant, I found a hunter's bow with 2 sockets. I will keep this for later. I finally found Radamant, and with my very small damage, he felt very tanky, but I got him down. Then I went directly to get the cube, then I made my way to the staff in the big maze that is the Maggot's lair, and then I got the amulet without any issue. And my damage felt very small, so I decided to make myself a much needed upgrade. I cubed 3 Tal runes into a Ral, and then 3 Ral runes into an Ort. And in the bow that I found earlier in the sewers, I used Ort and Eth, and boom, Zephyr. The damage of 2 to 7 does not really matter for this bow. What matters the most is the very fast attack speed, because most of the damage is going to come from the lightning damage anyway. This rune word also gives minus 25% target defense and 25 faster run walk, so I run very fast now. I went on my way to kill the summoner, and then I went straight to Andariel. And now the problems began. I had to run away until he attacked my mercenary, but then he would kill my mercenary in only a few seconds, and I couldn't attack him alone because I was slowed and he would just kill me. So I had to revive my mercenary over and over and over, and repeat this entire process many times until I finally got him down after several minutes, and unfortunately he dropped nothing good. Then I went directly to get Kalim's Eye. And on my way to the brain in the Flayer dungeon, a unique monster dropped a unique brandy stock. It's Blood Thief. Lifesteal, open wounds, strength, and life. That would have been an amazing weapon for an Act 2 mercenary. So I took Kalim's brain from the chest and made my way to Kalim's heart in the sewers. Then I went to Trav and managed to separate the councils pretty easily. I killed one of them, took the flail, and made my way to Mephisto. He was very tanky and my lack of damage is starting to be very evident again, but with enough time, I got him. I almost died, but I didn't want to chicken out and I prayed for the best. Unfortunately, he dropped nothing good. Then I tried to farm him by cheesing him with the mode trick, but he was avoiding pretty much all my attacks and it was taking forever. He dropped a rare bow that turned out to be pretty bad, and since it was taking so long to kill him, I went straight to Act 4 instead. I ran around in the Plains of Despair until I found Iswul. We cleared the mobs around him, and then we attacked him, and attacked him for about 5 minutes. I really need a new weapon now. And now that I have the decoy skill, I decided to farm Mephisto again, and now it's much more simple. I summon my decoy next to him and let her tank while my mercenary and myself just spam attack Mephisto. It's much faster like this. After farming him for about 20 minutes, he dropped a unique trident and some pretty good magic gloves. The trident is Razor Tine, which is like a baby version of Kelpie Snare that I found in my previous video. That's pretty good, but I can't use it. The magic gloves gives me some fire resist and 22 magic finds. I'm definitely going to use these. Then I started farming the councils in Trav instead, and after a few minutes I found some very nice set light plated boots. Vidala's boots. I already found the amulet earlier, and the two of them together give very good bonuses. The amulet gives 50 magic find and the boots gives 8 to all resist, with 30 faster run walk on top of that. With the partial set bonus of 75 attack rating and 7 mana steal. That's a very nice upgrade. With the 25 faster run walk from stealth, 25 from Zephyr and 30 from these boots, I run very fast now. Then a council member minion dropped a very nice unique composite bow, and another minion dropped a set ring. The set ring is Kathan's seal, which is pretty acceptable for the lifesteal right now. The unique bow is Rogue's bow. The damage is quite low, but it has bonus damage to undead, deadly strike, and all resist. That will be a nice little upgrade for Kyle. Then on my way to Hephasto, I found a very useful large storm. It gives only 1 to 3 cold damage, but it's still very useful for the slow. Then I killed Hephasto with ease and I destroyed Mephisto's Soulstone, but unfortunately I got only a tier rune. Then I went to the Chaos Sanctuary and started popping the seals. My damage is still very low, but now that I have Decoy and Strafe, everything is much easier. I killed the Grand Vizier of Chaos, Lord Desays didn't stand a chance, and then I had to kite Infector of Souls and his minions around, but I got them. But then, Diablo was very difficult. My mercenary kept dying all the time. Again, and again. So I had to spend my time reviving her to get some extra damage. But after a while I stopped reviving her and tried kiting Diablo myself. And after a big 13 minutes, he died. Unfortunately, he dropped nothing useful. Then I didn't waste a single second and started farming Eldritch and Shank for about 30 minutes until I dinged level 30. On the second run, Shank dropped a very nice set mask. It's Kathan's Visage. If I use it with Kathan's Ring, I get a nice 15 to 20 fire damage bonus and 16% mana regen for the partial set, and 10 bonus strength from the ring. Then a few minutes later, Eldritch dropped a nice pair of set heavy gloves. Sander's Taboo. I forgot what stats it was giving at first, so I was really surprised when I saw the 20 increased attack speed. 2 minutes later, I found a unique skull cap and a socketed short warbow. The short warbow has 3 sockets. It's a very nice base for the edge rune word. The unique helm is Tarn Helm, which is pretty good, but I prefer to keep my Kathan's bonuses. Then I turned level 30 shortly after, and I went directly to save Anya, and used the much needed Scroll of Resist from Mala. Then I went directly to the Ancients, and I now have a Valkyrie, so using both the decoy and the Valkyrie is making things much easier. We focused the damage dealer Madak at first, and he went down. Then it was Torlik's turn to feel Our Lady's power, and he couldn't resist. He went down. And then the tank Talik was not even able to damage my Valkyrie, and he went down without issue. Then I ran straight to Baal's throne, and the minion waves were pretty easy until the very last one. The minions of destruction were very tanky, and I had to run around them while summoning my Valkyrie and my decoy over and over so I could distract and attack them. It took about 8 minutes, but we got them. And then it was the same thing with Baal. I had to summon my decoy and Valkyrie over and over while my mercenary and myself just attacked him, and attacked him, and attacked him. It was not very difficult, but it was a very long fight, and my lack of damage is becoming more and more of a problem now. But after 12 minutes, he went down, and he dropped nothing good. Normal mode is over now. Let's start Nightmare. And if you like this video, I would be very grateful if you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Thank you so much. Then I went straight to the Den of Evil and cleared it pretty easily. But now I want some upgrades, and there are 3 simple, very good rune words I want to make. Insight for my mercenary, and Edge and Peace for myself. These rune words are extremely good, and they will help me a lot through the Nightmare difficulty. So I went straight to the Countess, and on the first run she dropped a Soul rune. I have all the runes I need to make an insight for my mercenary now. I just need a base. I kept farming the Countess for more runes, and 2 minutes later on the way there a normal Devilkin monster dropped a socketed short warbow, and it has 4 sockets. That's exactly what I need. At least if my mercenary is being useless like she is right now, I can still benefit from the meditation aura. Then a few minutes later I found another rune that I need, an Am rune. So now I can also make Edge for myself. And now we can use the base short warbow that we just found and add Ral, Tyr, Tal, Soul. and here we have Insight. It only rolled with level 12 Meditation Aura, which is the minimum, but it doesn't matter. It's still an amazing upgrade for myself and for my mercenary. And in the base that we found earlier on Eldritch, I add Tyr, Tal, and Am. And here we have Edge. It rolled with very low damage to demons but 10 to attributes. And the other stats like Thorn Aura, Lifesteal, damage to undead, and prevent monster heal are also absolutely amazing for me. That's a huge upgrade. But I still need an Am and a Shale rune to make Peace Rune Word. Thankfully for me, the Countess dropped an Am rune a few minutes later. And it took about 15 more minutes, but she finally dropped a Shale rune. I just need a base armor now, so I went to Farah in normal difficulty and found it pretty quickly. A breastplate with 3 sockets. That will do. And here it is. Shale rune, Thol rune, Am rune. Peace. 2 to Amazon skills and 2% chance to cast level 15 Valkyrie on striking. That's a wonderful rune word for me. My Valkyrie right now at level 3 has 704 life, but a level 15 Valkyrie has 1760 life. So yeah, she will be an amazing tank for a while. Then I went straight to Andy, and on my way there a unique tainted monster dropped a unique mask. This is the Face of Horror, which will be very good for my mercenary for the all resist and 50% chances to make monsters flee. Then I arrived at Andariel, and with my overpowered Valkyrie and my decoy, she was not much of a challenge. And something that I can't explain happened at the end. Andy lost about 25% of her health in a fraction of a second. If you know what could have caused this, please let me know in the comments. She dropped nothing useful and I don't really need to grind right now, so I went straight to Act 2. I found Redamant pretty quick and he died without any issue. Then I went to get the staff in the Maggot's lair, and thankfully this place is much easier with the Strafazon. My arrows can pierce through enemies, so I don't have to attack them one by one. I took the staff from the chest and then made my way to the amulet, and on my way to the Arcane Sanctuary, a nice little rune dropped, a Lum rune. I might use this later. And then it took a while, but I made my way to the summoner and I killed him pretty easily. When I was searching for Duriel in the Tel Russia tombs, 2 uniques dropped within a few seconds, a unique razor bow and a unique cutlass. I thought nothing of it at first because I confused razor bow with hunter's bow, so I thought it was nothing. But the razor bow is actually Rip Hook, which is absolutely amazing. 9 lifesteal and slow target by 30%. This will be very useful against bosses. And the unique cutlass is Cold Steel Eye, which ironically also slows target by 30%. That's a crazy coincidence. What are the odds? Then I arrived at Duriel and he destroyed my mercenary, but it doesn't matter. My Valkyrie tanked him for the entire fight. I just had to stand back and shoot. And here, he's dead. And he dropped a very nice small charm giving 5 FHR. That's exactly what I need. Then I didn't want to spend too much time in Act 3, so I went directly for Kalim's Eye, then the Brain, then the Heart. Then I was not sure what to expect in terms of difficulty for the councils and Travs, but my Valkyrie just tanked everything while I stood there and used Strafe. And just like that, I got the flail. Then I went straight to Mephisto, and he was very tanky. We can already see that my damage is starting to fall off a little bit right now. But I simply summoned my Valkyrie over and over, and eventually, he died. I farmed him for 40 more minutes, but he didn't drop anything, so let's go straight to Act 4. Lucky for me, I found Israel about 15 seconds after getting out of town, and he was not very challenging. Very tanky, but very low damage, and he even dropped a nice small charm, giving 5 FHR and 10 cold resist. That's going to help me a lot through the rest of the game. Then I killed Nephasto, and he dropped 2 runes, Ral and Eth. And then I destroyed Mephisto's Soulstone, but I only got a Soul rune. But it's fine, because a few minutes later, a very nice rune dropped in the Chaos Sanctuary. Yes, a pull rune. It's not a high rune, but still, I didn't think a pull rune could drop in Nightmare difficulty. I will definitely use that rune later. Then 2 minutes later, another very good small charm drop, and this one gives 10 fire resist. It's amazing to find these charms just before starting hell, because believe me, I will need all the resist I can get my hands on. Then I popped all the seals one after the other. Diablo, I'm coming for you. And that was a pretty easy fight. My Valkyrie just tanked him, and he went down in 3 minutes without too much problem. Then I went straight to Shank, and my Valkyrie took care of him while I was tanking everything else. At that point, my damage is starting to feel very low, so I need an upgrade. I farmed Eldritch and Shank, and after about 45 minutes, Shank dropped an amazing unique bow. It's Witchwild String! No, I'm just kidding, it's Stormstrike. I really believed it was Witchwild String, so you can imagine my disappointment. But 2 minutes later, an enslaved minion dropped an amazing Grand Charm. I really didn't expect to find this in a challenge run. It gives 1 to offensive auras and 23 to life. It would be amazing to find an Amazon life skiller in this run. Maybe I will. Then I stopped grinding and went straight to the Ancients, and it was a pretty difficult fight. They kept focusing me instead of my Valkyrie and my decoy, so I always had to run away and kite them. But eventually, Corlick Talik went down. Then Talik was already low life and he went down a few seconds later. And Madoc had stone skin and he took forever to kill, but we got him. This fight took 9 minutes. I really need a new weapon. Then I went straight to Baal's throne and the minion waves were actually easy. Even the last one, my Valkyrie and decoy just tanked everything while me and my mercenaries stood back and killed them all. And as soon as I started fighting Baal, he summoned this clone. So we focused it and killed it in about a minute. Then halfway through the fight, he summoned this clone a second time. But this time I destroyed it pretty quickly. And then after a few minutes, Baal went down, and unfortunately he dropped nothing interesting, so at level 58, 9 mirrors over, the real challenge begins. And yeah, I didn't expect Hell to be as difficult as it's going to be. So since I'm only level 58 and it's better to start Hell around 65 or 70, I decided to grind a little bit. I started by doing some cows and I was very weak. Killing cows took an eternity, so I kept going for a few minutes and then I found a nice crown with 3 sockets, so I can make the wisdom rune word. But I only have one problem. I have a pool rune, I have the ith, but I don't have the eld. So I went to run some normal countess. I have 2 L runes already, so I need either an L or an eld. And believe it or not, but it took a total of 8 runs to find an L runes. Yes, 8 runs for an L or an eld. But now I can finally make wisdom. 3 L runes into the cube, eld. And then pool, ith, eld. Wisdom. The piercing attack, attack rating bonus, mana steal, can be frozen, and mana after each kill are all so good for me. So now I have so much mana steal and mana after each kill that I can stop using insight on my mercenary and I can put rip hook on her instead. Life steal, open wounds, and slow target by 30%. That's amazing. Then I went to farm Pindle skin for some time and a prowling dead monster dropped a very good socketed razor bow and it has 3 sockets. If I don't find another bow very soon, I will use this base to make the edge rune word again. So I tried the hell difficulty now, and I do practically 0 damage. Look at this zombie right there. I do nothing. And look at this beast. Same thing. There's no way I can start hell like this. I really need better gear or at least to be a bit higher level. So I made edge again in the base that I just found. Is it going to be a good roll? Let's see. Tyr, Tal, yes, 377 damage to demons. I had 326, so that's a pretty good upgrade. Then I went to farm Mephisto a little bit and he didn't drop anything for about an hour. And I decided to try my luck gambling some rings with the gold I've accumulated until now. I'm still using a Kathin's ring, giving only 6 life steal, so I could really use an upgrade. Did I find anything? Yes, I did. Look at this. 5 to minimum damage, 5 to both mana and life steal, and all resist. This is so good. Exactly what I need for now. Then I went to farm Pindle skin for a bit, and after a few minutes, a normal prowling dead monster dropped a very uncommon magic ring. It gives 122 mana. That's the perfect roll. I've never seen this before. I will not use it, but I thought it was very cool. Then I went to Eldritch and he dropped a pretty good rare plated belt, giving triple res. I badly need resist for hell, so I will happily take it. And at that point I'm level 67 and I'm tired of farming in Nightmare. So I decided to rush Andy and to grind Andy until I'm level 70. Even if it's much harder, at least I will have the chance of getting much better loots. It's taking very long to kill her, but at least it's not too risky because she only targets my decoy and Valkyries. And on the first kill, she dropped an upgrade already, a unique death mask. This is Black Orange Face, which is nothing crazy, but it has one very important stat, the 20% slow. If I put this on my mercenary, she will slow targets by 50% now. That's exactly what I need. Then about 30 minutes later, she dropped something very cool, a unique Grand Charm and a short war bow. The unique bow is only Hell Slap, so it's not very useful for me. But the unique Grand Charm is Geed with 25 magic find. That's a very low roll, but it's better than nothing. Then about an hour later, Andy dropped 2 things at once, a unique bow and a unique armor. The unique bow is Kuko Shakaku. Yes, I really love that bow. The +3 to skills, piercing attack, fire damage, and immolation arrows are very good. Unfortunately, the explosive arrows don't work on strafe, but it doesn't matter. It's still much better than what I'm using right now. And the armor is Corpseborn, which is cool, but I don't need this at all. And then on the next run, Andy dropped a very cool small charm, giving 2 to dexterity and 10 fire resist. That's exactly for me. And now I'm level 70, so it's enough. Let's continue the hell difficulty. First thing to do is to use my socket quest for Kuko Shakaku and put a nice Shale rune in there for 20% increased attack speed. I went back in the Den of Evil to finish it, and we can see now that even though my damage is nothing crazy, it's much better than what it was a few moments ago. Then I went directly to Radamant, and he was slowed and he couldn't do anything, and he dropped a very good Grand Charm. 3 to maximum damage and 1 to 32 light damage. I'm going to keep this one. Then I went straight to the Maggot's Lair, and with Strafe and Immolation Arrow, it was much easier than it normally is. I made my way to the staff, and then went directly to the Claw Viper Temple, but I quickly realized that I'm no match for these Vipers yet. My damage is way too low and I definitely need a little bit more gear. So I went to farm the Hell Countess until I get a cool rune to be able to upgrade my weapon with the Harmony rune word. This gives huge amount of elemental damages, along with level 10 Vigor Aura, which gives 36% faster run speed, so I will be very fast. I got nothing for about an hour, but then on my way to the Countess I found a very nice unique Necromancer item. Homunculus. I would be so happy to find this in a Necromancer challenge run, but unfortunately it's useless for me right now. Then 2 minutes later I found a very good Grand Charm. 2 to maximum damage and 87 attack rating. My attacks miss a lot right now, so I really need this attack rating bonus. And then in the same run, the Countess dropped a very nice rune. A pool rune. That's the second pool rune of this video. That's crazy. Then I got really surprised a few minutes later. She dropped another very nice rune. An Ist rune. This is the highest rune she can drop from a rune drop table. And then, finally, after another hour of farming, I got it. The much needed Coal rune. I just need a base and I can make a Harmony now. Instead of continuing farming the Countess, I decided to try something different. I started farming the pit. After about 30 minutes of farming and finding a big bunch of nothing, I had an amazing drop from the chest in level 2. A set winged helm. Yes, this is G-Face. Yes! La face fatiguée, FHR, Crushing Blow and Deadly Strike. That's a crazy find for me. I don't have enough strength to equip it, but I didn't use any respecs yet, so I go talk to Akara and boom, problem solved. And a few minutes later, on my way to the pit, a Carver minion dropped exactly what I was looking for. A blade bow base. Finally, I went to see my friend Larzok to get 4 sockets, and then, here it is. Tear, Ith, Soul, Co. Harmony, and with 255 enhanced damage, so that's a pretty good roll. I can finally do damage now, and I really can't believe how fast I run with that Vigor Aura. That's crazy. So I went back to the Claw Viper Temple and a very good small charm dropped a few minutes later. 1 to 3 cold damage and 19 to life. That's a very nice find. Then I made my way to level 2 and fought all these Vipers like it was nothing. That G-Face and Harmony bow were much needed. So I get the amulet and head to the summoner, and I killed him without even seeing him. Then I put the Horadric staff in the orifice and I faced Andariel. I realized at that time that there's a glitch with the Amazon's decoy. For some reason it has literally 1 life point and it dies as soon as it takes damage. Sometimes it will be extremely tanky, but right now it's getting killed instantly by Andariel's Holy Freeze aura. The only way to fix this glitch is to restart the game. So since I can't use my decoy, I just made my Valkyrie tank, and it was a pretty easy fight. He even dropped a very nice rare blade bow, doing huge fire damage and some lifesteal. If my mercenary was not using Rip Hook, that would be a very good bow for her. Then as usual, I don't want to spend too much time in Act 3, so I ran all the way to get Kalim's parts, starting with Kalim's eye, then I got Kalim's brain, and then I got Kalim's heart. Then I made my way to Travs, and my Valkyrie and Decoy are very solid tanks, so it took some time, but it was not very difficult. And my mercenary got literally one-shotted, so it shows how tanky my Valkyrie is. Then I went straight to Mephisto, and I was very lucky early on with the Crushing Blow procs in this fight. Mephisto's life is just melting. G-Face is really doing good work. And then after about a minute, he was down. Unfortunately, no drops for today. Then I ran straight to Easy Boy, and I used the town portal so the monsters would stop running after my mercenary that was lagging behind. Then after going back, I just strafed him to death, and it didn't take very long. Really, Harmony and G-Face is an amazing combo. Then I killed the Fasto, and I destroyed the Mephisto Soulstone. What rune am I going to get this time? Yes! Rune! I already used my socket quest from Normal and Nightmare, but as soon as I killed Shank and Hell, that will go in G-Face for 15 additional all resist. And then in the Rivers of Flame, I found something very simple but that I really needed, a Flawless Emerald. I can cube it into a perfect emerald and use it with Pull and Lum runes to upgrade my mercenary's Rip Hook to the Elite version, improving the damage by more or less 50%. Not a very big upgrade, but it's better than nothing. Then I went straight to the Chaos Sanctuary and I killed the Grand Vizier of Chaos and his minions. Then I attacked Lord Desace. He was very tanky with Stone Skin, but he was no match for my army of Amazons. And then I went for the Infector of Souls and his minions. They were very tanky, so I had to kite them around, but I managed to get them after about 2 minutes. And then Diablo was very tanky, but with the 50% slow from my mercenary's weapon and helm, he was not very threatening. We just attacked him while avoiding his fire and lightning spells, and he died. Unfortunately, no drops. Then I went straight to defeat Shank to get my socket quest. I added a socket in my beautiful Guillaume's face, and I added a nice little rune for an additional 15 all resist. My resists are still absolutely terrible, and it will be a problem very soon. In fact, right now. I couldn't make it to Anya in the frozen river with all these lightning monsters. If I tried fighting them, they would pretty much one-shot me as soon as they target me. If I tried to run away, I will arrive face to face with a bunch of them who will just one-shot me. But then I realized something. After dying many times and losing almost an entire level of XP, I took my corpse, went back into the frozen river, and there were no loams in sight, so loams don't always appear. I was about to make a smoke rune word to get 50 all resist just for this part of the game, but it seems like I won't have to. So if you're stuck there in the future, you can reroll the map and the loams will eventually just not spawn. Just before I arrived to Anya, a frozen abyss minion dropped a very nice rare ring, much better than the one I'm using right now, giving 94 attack rating, 6 lifesteal, some strength and poison resist. It's nothing crazy, but I'm still using a ring with 8 strength and 31 to mana, so that's a nice little upgrade for the rest of the game. Then I saved Anya from her frozen state and used a much needed scroll of resist from Mala. Now it's Ancients time. They were pretty strong, but I managed to separate Madoc from the 2 others, and we got him without much issues. And then that annoying Korlik would not leave me alone. I tried to spawn my decoy and my Valkyrie next to him, but he was always jumping to me no matter what, and my Valkyrie would only focus on Talik for some reason. So I kited Korlik around while attacking both of them with strafe, and eventually Talik went down. And then Korlik was already almost dead and we defeated him. That's it, Ancient's dead. Then I went straight to Baal's throne. The first wave was very easy, but the second wave was a big problem. Unravelers kept reviving skeletons and it seemed to be as fast as I killed them. So I stayed away spamming strafe for a few minutes, but the skeletons seemed infinite. And my Valkyrie kept dying without doing any damage either. So I just stood there and spammed strafe, hoping that over time one Unraveler would die, and then another one, until it's over. And it worked. I didn't think it would work, but it did. This minion wave took 10 minutes. It would have been amazing to have a Nature's Peace right now. The third wave was very easy, but the Venom Lords of the fourth wave were very fast and tanky. I had to kite them around and spam my decoy and Valkyrie every few seconds, but after a few minutes of kiting and strafing, we did it. Same thing for the fifth wave with the Minions of Destruction. They were very tanky and I had to run away for a few minutes while spamming Valkyrie, decoy and strafe, but we did it. And Lister the Tormentor was stone skin with immune to physical, but with all my elemental damages from my Harmony Bow and the damage from my Cold Mercenary, we managed to kill him. And then before going to Baal's room, I tried something I never did before. I used the revive skill on my Harmony Bow, I revived a few monsters, and I went in. And then, again, he summoned his clone at the very beginning of the fight. I stayed away and spammed strafe on his clone until it was down, and then Baal was already half HP. And he summoned his clone a second time. We killed the clone again, and about a minute later, Baal was down. And that's it. The game is over. Before sharing my thoughts on this run, this is my gear right now. I'm level 77 and I'm using the Harmony Rune Word, G-Face with an Rune, Vidala Amulet, Peace Rune Word, Sander's Loves, a rare ring giving life steal, mana steal and resist, a rare belt giving triple res, a ring giving attack rating, life steal and strength, Vidala's boots, and the MVP of this run, the much needed arrows. I'm also using a 25 magic find guide with 14 charms giving a bunch of additional stats. My mercenary is using an upgraded rip hook, an absolutely horrendous armor, and Blackhorn's face. I have no points in javelin and spare skills, some points everywhere in passive and magic skills, some points in multi-shot with max guided arrow and strafe. I had a ton of fun doing this run. Bowazon is very fun to play, but realistically this is the most gear dependent build I've ever played. If you have bad gear, the Bowazon is absolutely terrible. I don't think I would have been able to finish the game without my Harmony Bow and G-Face. These two items really saved this run. So as much as the Bowazon is fun to play if you have gear, it's a very difficult experience when you don't. Without gear, you are pretty much at last cannon, but without the damage. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If you have any ideas for challenges or fun runs that I should make, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. I will be playing this new ladder as a Warlock and I will post a lot of Warlock content, especially grinding videos, so subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss any uploads. Also, massive thanks to all the channel members who are supporting the channel. Thank you so much for all the support, and thanks to all of you for watching until the end, and as always, happy grinding.